Welcome to No Rules Review with your host, Ethan
Hey
Malay.
everybody, right here. Today we're going to be looking at Sylvion by Shady Sorbet, published by Z-Man Games. This is the third of the Omniverse series of games. It is a single to two-player card game in which you are attempting to sort of best the game before some timer in the deck runs out. Now, what makes this one a little different than the other two that came before it is you are not escaping some dream world. In this game, you are defending a forest against a forest fire that is ravaging through it. You call upon your woodland animals to help you out as you try to hold back the fire and heal the forest if it's been burned down. So in the basic game, you have 4 rows of fire that are going to be advancing your way across the board, trying to hit the trees on the other end. Now, if you are familiar with the type of computer games called tower defense games, this is very much like that. You are going to be putting down defensive structures, in this game water spouts, that are going to be putting out fires as the fires run into them. If water spouts are of an equal or higher number than the strength of the fire, they'll put it out. If they're equal, they'll get destroyed. If they are less than the strength of the fire, they will be destroyed and the fire keeps marching. So you are doing your best to try to stop the fire until the entire group of fire decks runs out. At that point, if the forest is fully healed, you're good. If the forest is not burned down, you're good. If the forest is partly burned down, there are trees you plant in the game to heal the forest at the end of the game. If at any point in the game the entire forest burns down, you lose. So, that's the basic game. It's a good game, but it's not that great. The advanced game, or the full game, has you actually build the deck that you're going to use in the game. So, you take the deck of helper cards, and you are putting out 4 cards into 4 rows, or 4 columns, I should say, and selecting one, and then you draw a card, and it will tell you to eliminate one of the remaining columns of cards. So every round of drafting, you take a column of cards, and one column gets destroyed, and this provides so much tension, pushing your luck, because you might find that there's a great card in a column, and there are a ton of crummy cards in another column, but you want to have some crummy cards in your deck, so you have to decide, do I take the single card, or do I take the 4 cards? Because the 4 cards aren't great. But that single card, to waste a whole draft on a single card, might not be useful, but you run the risk that either one of those could be destroyed when you draw the card that tells you which column to eliminate. Then you get to the main game, and as you're playing, there are cards in the fire deck that will eliminate cards from your hand. That's why you want to have some of those junk cards. Every time you run through your deck, you got to eliminate cards from your deck. So you want to have a reasonably sized deck, but you also want to have some cards in there that are going to be able to be gotten rid of, because you don't want to get rid of good cards. And the game, when you're playing it, the fires are marching across. There are cards you can draw that have fires move quicker. There are cards you draw that have the fires get stronger. So the fires are usually level 1, 2, or 3, and then 0, 1, 2, or 3. And these cards that make them worse have the 1s go to 2, 2 go to 3, 3 go to 4, and the 0s go to 4. So suddenly, half the fires out there, theoretically, are now the strongest they could be. And the strongest defensive tower you have is a level 4, so when these cards come up, it can be terrible, and they stack on each other. If 2 of those cards come up, every fire goes up 2 levels, and usually when that happens, you're done. So it's a frustrating game, but it's a good frustrating game, because you have to try to manage what cards you have in hand. You only draw a certain number every round, and you got to try to make them count, because putting cards out on the field, you have to discard cards to pay for them. So you're always stuck wanting to do more than what the game allows you. Like many tower defense games, if you could put out as many towers as you want, it wouldn't be much of a game. Now, as I said, the fires can destroy the towers you put down, and the game does compensate you. They give you a card when it's been destroyed, but losing a tower can be terrible for your chances of success. Now, the game, like many of these Omniverse games, comes with many expansions in it. You can have expansions where some of the cards in your deck can turn traitorous, all kinds of stuff. I don't think I played with half the expansions in there. I did get one of the promo expansions, and I play with all the time now. It's the Underground, so your 4x4 playing grid has cards on it at the start of the game, and every time you put a card down on a new spot, you flip that card over, and if it's a blank, nothing happens. If it's an owl, you get a card. If it's a monster, you lose the card you just paid for, and that can be devastating. The reason I play with that expansion all the time, and if you have the game, I suggest you give it a try, is it makes the game a lot more difficult without adding in any real complexity. You just have, flipping a coin every time you put a card down, and it's great. It's a really good expansion for it. Um, what else to say? I've never tried the game two-player. I don't have an interest to try two-player. I don't know how it would really play. I think it's a great solo game. It's not the most practical of the Oniverse games for bringing around to play solo because you need a big amount of table to play this. And it has a moderate amount of setup time with that whole pre-game building your deck, but this is my favorite of the 4 Oniverse games so far. I actually did a playthrough video. It's not the greatest video, but I did a playthrough video a couple months ago. So if you want to see what it's like to play it, especially with that underground, give that video a watch. Nothing more for me to say. Same old with the art. I really like it. Some people don't. I think it's great. If you like what you saw today, share, like, comment, subscribe. And this has been Ethan Malay with No Rules Review. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye now.
This has been another No Rules Review by Ethan Malay. If you enjoyed this video, consider sharing, commenting, liking, and most importantly, subscribing. For this and other great games, join us over on BoardGameGeek.com. Thanks for watching, and we'll